You want to listen to a podcast?
By who?
Georgia GOP Congressman Doug Collins.
How is it?
The greatest thing I have ever heard in my whole life.
I could not believe my ears.
In this house, wherever the rules are disregarded, chaos and mob rule. It has been said today, where is bravery? I'll tell you where bravery is found and courage is found. It's found in this minority who has lived through the last year of nothing but rules being broken, people being put down, questions not being answered. And this majority say, be damned with anything else. We're going to impeach and do whatever we want to do. Why? Because we won an election. I guarantee you, one day you'll be back in the minority and it ain't gonna be that fun. Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. Glad you're with us today. I'm going to go, we're digging in deep. This is another time on the news that you may have passed up. We got some interesting things, especially in the Democratic primary. I told you we're going to talk about the presidential races coming up. I got an interesting one that's blooming out in California. Democrats do not like this, but we're going to talk about it anyway. A couple other stories out there that you may have crossed your radar, maybe didn't cross your radar. I want you to hear about it. But before we get to that here in just a minute, going over these news, I have to tell you, there was a craziest article a few weeks back, and I could probably bring James in on this one because this would be one of those, Friday's finest kind of things. But it intrigued me. Have you ever been, it's clickbait. You're going through, websites, you're reading the news, and they have the little clickbait articles over there. And this one caught my eye. It said these 8 daily habits could add up to 24 years to your life, a new study says. Even adding only one may lead to 4 extra years. Well, I said, hey, I'm getting up there. It's my birthday month, by the way, the Doug Collins podcast. Not only are we about 2 years old on the podcast, I will birthday on August 16th of this year. So I said, hey, this may be something interesting. If I can add some line to my life, what could these amazing thoughts be? So I went to the article and I read down through here, and they had talked about adding layers to your life. And then it came to the 8 habits. This is under the CNBC Make It website. Anyway, it said 8 habits that could add up to 24 years of your life. Folks, before we get into some real stuff, you got to just roll your eyes and laugh at this one. Here are the 8 habits listed in order, starting with the highest impact on lifespan, and include exercising, not having an addiction to opioids, avoiding smoking, managing your stress level, adhering to a healthy diet, not binge drinking, prioritizing good sleep, and maintaining positive social relationships. I hope you're laughing with me on this one because it's like, are you kidding me? Is this Captain Obvious who doesn't come onto the internet? But this is what clickbait gets you. No one would ever guess exercising would have actually extended your life. Nobody would actually guess that being addicted to hard drugs probably lowers your lifespan. Not binge drinking all the time. That's probably another one that your liver would probably thank you for. Folks, in the silliness of this world, sometimes you just have to take a step back. And here on the Doug Collins podcast, I'm willing to give you the very finest in habits that can impact your life up to 24 years. Not sure how we actually engage that, but hey, 24 years. But, look, we've had enough of it out there today. There's a lot of things going on. Let's get into it right after the break. Hey, everybody, you know about Legacy Precious Metals. Legacy Precious Metals, you hear from them. We talk once a month. We talk about Legacy Precious Metals, talking about precious metals being part of your portfolio, how they're your navigator. Well, now they're not only navigating in a new way, they're actually giving you a new way to buy gold and silver. In fact, Legacy Precious Metals has developed a revolutionary new online platform that allows you to invest in real gold and silver online. In a few easy steps, you can open an account online, select your metals of choice, and choose to have them stored in a vault or shipped to your door. I'm more of a ship to my door kind of person. I enjoy having them with me, but they can do it either way, and you can now do it online. It gives you real access to a dashboard where you can track your portfolio growth in real time, anytime. You'll see transparent pricing on each coin and bar. This puts you in complete control of your money. This platform is free to sign up for. Just visit legacypminvestments.com and open your account and see this new investing platform for yourself. Gold hedges against inflation and is against a volatile stock market. A true diversified portfolio isn't just more stocks and bonds, but a different asset class. This platform allows you to make investments in gold and silver, no matter how small or large, with just a few clicks. Remember, do as I have done. Go to legacypminvestments.com and get started today. And now you've got a new tool to help you along in your investments. Hey everybody, it's My Pillow's 20th year anniversary, and over 80 million My Pillows have been sold. Mike Lindell and My Pillow wants to thank each of you and every one of you for giving you the lowest price in history on their My Pillows. You will receive a queen size My Pillow for $19.98. Regular price is $69.98, and just $10 more for a king size. You will receive deep discounts on all My Pillow products such as bed sheets, mattress toppers, pet beds, mattresses, my slippers, and so much more. This is a time to try out something other than the amazing products that you've had your eye on. Go to mypillow.com, click on the radio podcast square, and use the promo Collins, Collins, to receive this amazing offer on the queen size My Pillow for $19.98, or call 800-986-3994. This offer comes with a 10-year warranty and 60-day money-back guarantee. It's time to start getting the quality sleep you deserve. You know how I know that? Because I sleep on a MyPillow every night. Go to mypillow.com and use promo code Collins, Collins, or call 800-986-3994 today. All right, folks, I'm going to talk about a story today that has been building over the summer. It's actually been building probably a little more than that, but it's been building over the summer. And it goes back, and first and foremost, those of you know I'm a Republican. I'm a conservative. I'm not a fan of the Biden administration at all, in any shape, form, or fashion. I think, actually, in many ways, Joe Biden has been more liberal, has pushed more liberal agenda than even Barack Obama. Mainly because I think this is I see this, and you saw this the other day. There's some video footage of Barack Obama going back to the White House where he's talking about staffers that used to work for him and now work for Joe Biden, and how about they had grown up, and really how they're impacting, it's his own words. He said how they're impacting, everything going on. I think for what we're seeing here is you're not just seeing Obama's input, but you're seeing those aides and those workers inside the White House, inside these agencies, who have a free rein from a chief executive who, frankly, at times doesn't look like he's in control. And he's willing to say yes to whatever ideas they come up. So now they don't have to worry about a president who is going to tell them no, or worry about, how it may look. He's willing to sign on to these very, liberal ideas. And we've seen this in their bills with infrastructure bills, in which the infrastructure bill, which would have been great if it had been 100% toward infrastructure. But we already have discussed it ad nauseum here on the podcast that it was only about 24% of the actual bill actually went to what we call roads, bridges, and airports and ports. I mean, the rest of it was to, further a climate agenda, or to further as Pete Buttigieg, the Secretary of Transportation, said, a immoral road system. Again, figure out what you want to figure out from that one. But as this has been building, the discussion behind the scenes with the president's continual gaffes, his continual physical, I'm trying to think of the right word here, physical limitations. I mean, tripping over stuff, can't walk upstairs, walking around like he's lost on a stage, can't get to the stage. When he gets to the stage, he turns the wrong way, shakes the wrong people's hands. I mean, it's just a regular occurrence with Joe Biden. They have plenty of built-in go home to Delaware kind of times where I think it goes and resets him to come back and do 4 days in Washington. Then he goes back to Delaware or Camp David to try and reset again. Again, this is all concerning. It's not something that I'm the only one out here saying this. I think I'm in very good company with a lot of people on both sides of the aisle. Democrats just can't say it out loud. Republicans are saying it out loud, that this is the problem, but they're actually coming through. But it presents a bigger issue is if this continues, they can only go so far with a candidate that is not seemingly capable of actually being able to govern the country. And that has caused a lot of Democrats outside of the White House to begin to look somewhere else to find a candidate. And the problem they're having is they don't know where to look. They can't look to their vice president. The vice president has lower approval ratings than any vice president in history. Although she said the other day in an interview that I've got poll numbers that show I have great numbers. And my comment to that I guess if you tally the people who work for you and your own family, hopefully you will have good poll numbers. But nowhere else are you seeing those poll numbers because her word salad comments, her lack of engagement, her personality that's just not meshing with the American people. So if you're the White House, you're sitting here looking at a situation in which you have a president that is not able to clearly articulate a vision. He's not able to stay on task, to stay on message, from his physical limitations to his mental limitations that we're seeing come up. And they don't have a vice president that they can readily fill in. So if you're a Democrat and you're looking at this, what does that mean? It means that there are some people out there ready to come in case of a Joe Biden demise, and not just to simply say that the normal candidate for that would be the vice president, but in this case, Kamala Harris is the vice president, is not wanted by most Democrats to run. So that has raised a lot of questions about Joe Manchin, who is still flirting with a third party run. You still have the primary now with Robert Kennedy Jr., which they've done a pretty good job of character assassinating Robert Kennedy Jr. As they go forward. He'll still pick up some, but I mean, again, it's hard to take the beating that he has taken over the last little bit, and on some of his more controversial statements they've laid into him. And most don't have the resiliency, say, of a Donald Trump. And so the question is who would it actually be? Here's an interesting, here's the scenario that a lot of people see are playing out. And now from a Republican perspective, I will say, okay. I mean, and this one does not as much concern me because he comes from a state that is synonymous with bad government, bad things, and high crime, terrible living conditions. Money, is expensive to live there, and that's California. That's Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom, every time there comes out a report that Joe Biden is having issues or Joe Biden's having trouble, you can honestly just almost see Gavin Newsom pressing his suits and getting his ties ready because he's ready to hit the campaign trail. And he's doing things. Now, he's doing all the right things inside the party. Let's just be very frank about that. He's doing the, when Joe Biden comes to California, he's right there by his side. I'm a Joe Biden man. I'm going to stick with Joe Biden. I'm not going anywhere. All of this is coming up. But, outside of that, he is fighting with Governor Ron DeSantis all the time. Interestingly enough, he doesn't really go after Trump. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, he is not a Trump lover by any stretch of the imagination, and he'll take his pot shots. But it's interesting that he's going after DeSantis and some others who he believes, interesting enough, may be the more suitable targets for his ire. But DeSantis has become one that he has really started to engage with. And now we see, just recently, and I know they're still trying to get this together, a debate between Ron DeSantis and Gavin Newsom. Actually, this is brilliant from a political strategist standpoint. Look, Ron DeSantis right now is getting beat. He's having to lay off staff. He's bleeding money. He has a super PAC that the political consultants are seemingly making a lot on, but they're not moving the numbers. And I'm just being honest here. I mean, they've got some good folks working with them, but they're not moving numbers. And then they try to say, well, you can't look at national polls, look at the state polls. Well, I just looked at state polls. He's down 20-something in Iowa. He's down 14+ in New Hampshire. I mean, these are the first states. And I don't even think they want to talk about South Carolina because right now Donald Trump is beating the field into South Carolina, even with two homegrown candidates, a former governor and a current senator, who are running for president. And DeSantis is not in that mix. In fact, if anything, he's barely above the current South Carolinians. So, there is a gap here, and it is interesting to see. And I think a lot of the candidates on the Republican side are actually looking to see if Donald Trump stays in the race. And folks, if that is the plan, that's not a very good plan because Donald Trump's going nowhere. Okay, whether you like him, dislike him, you think these lawsuits, these criminal indictments are the bee's knees, and you think that he's going to go down, which the left, every time one of these indictments come up, I mean, it's just like, they're melting down with excitement and glee. Oh, this is going to be the one. This is going to be the one. And they don't actually take a look at the charges that are being filed, the circumstances that are being filed. All they want to do is get Donald Trump. But it seems like, unfortunately, except for maybe a couple of the candidates on the Republican side, they've gotten into this mode now. Let's just keep our heads down. Let's keep spending money. Let's do what we need to do, because at some point in time, we're not going to have to run against Donald Trump. We're going to have to run against each other. And I just don't see that as a viable plan. That brings in Gavin Newsom. So if I said just a minute ago, this Gavin Newsom, Ron DeSantis debate is a brilliant move on both men's part. Just a political move. I'm not saying it's anything else, but if you're political wise, if you're Ron DeSantis, you can't get traction. Every time it seems like you're trying to roll out your economic plan, the Hunter Biden stuff comes up, the Donald Trump indictment stuff comes up. They no longer have a week in which they have had a chance to actually roll out. And when they have rolled it out, his own campaign strategy, his own personal interactions are the things that are highlighted by Trump and many others as not meeting the expectations of what people thought the governor of Florida could do. And it's just a fact. Okay, now can that change? Sure. Is there a long time left to go in this campaign? Sure. What, though, would be better for Ron DeSantis, who made his name sort of fighting with liberals, fighting with the press, than to get into a debate, a general election debate, if you would, with Gavin Newsom out of California? This is a symbiotic relationship. Gavin Newsom has zero to lose, everything to gain. I mean, he's right now being courted by many quietly behind the scenes in the Democratic Party to step up and run for president. I think, though, if Joe Biden does step down, I don't think Gavin Newsom would be the only one out there. But there's this waiting and seeing kind of game that Gavin Newsom can now go out. He can sort of be the attack dog, if you would. He goes after the person who's in second place in the GOP primaries, and that's a fellow governor, Ron DeSantis from Florida. And he gets to be on the public stage. This gets to be on Fox News, and it does, it seems to be, willing to do. Then, I mean, he has nothing to lose in this. In all fairness, he just comes up, presents his part. He can speak. He can debate. We've seen that before. And also on the flip side here, for Ron DeSantis, it gives him a chance to be perceived as the candidate for the Republican Party. I think look, from my perspective, you will see other candidates who will pitch fits and do everything they can the night, if this actually, is coming about, will do fits to see what they can do to try and counter program this. The biggest one being Donald Trump, who I think would hold a rally. He would do something that would, counter program the Gavin Newsom, Ron DeSantis debate. Because at the end of the day, what this would actually look like is is two candidates who are fighting for president when actually neither one of them are the front runners in either one of their parties. So again, from a political strategy standpoint, this is a no-brainer. And, Gavin has nothing to lose. Frankly, DeSantis has not really anything to lose unless he performs badly. But everything to gain in the sense that it'll be the first time he could be on stage with a audience with Fox News. Sean Hannity looks like they're trying to get to do this, in which he looks like the Republican nominee. That's the whole part here, folks. If you've not watched politics, or you're only casual observer, the thing that you want your candidate to look like is the nominee. You want them to be viewed as the person to beat, and this is what Ron DeSantis had early on in his campaign before the indictments and before Donald Trump took 5 months to just really beat this in, that the attacks on Ron DeSantis while he was working to be governor and working with his legislature, Donald Trump was actually out there beginning this process that has brought DeSantis down. So again, this is just an interesting, I want to just comment here. We're not going to spend a ton more time on it, but look, I can see the political realities of both parties here. This is a political, if you would, win-win for both of these men as they go forward. For Gavin Newsom, he's not a declared candidate. He can debate whoever he wants to debate, and it's not perceived as threatening Joe Biden directly. Ron DeSantis, on the other hand, it does elevate him to a different status. Why isn't Gavin Newsom wanting to debate Vivek Ramaswamy? Why is he wanting to debate Mike Pence? Why wouldn't he debate Chris Christie? That would be fun. Why is he debating Nikki Haley, a former governor? Why wouldn't he debate Tim Scott? It all comes up because this feud that they have perceived and made over the last couple of years, and especially the last year, of California and Florida. Again, I think you'll see more of this because right now everyone is trying on the Republican side to get out of the shadow of Donald Trump, who right now is running away with the nomination process, and they're trying to make a name for themselves. So again, I think let's look at it from two ways. From Republicans who are trying to look at our primary system, I think you're going to see a lot of kickback at Fox and for anybody on this. not that it's something that if I was in their shoes, I would do too. I mean, take advantage of this debate process. But you're going to look at the other candidates who are saying, okay, wait, we need to be a part of some of this too, because right now you're taking Ron DeSantis and separating him out and putting him against a Democrat who right now is not running for president. Look, there's going to be a lot of whining, moaning, and complaining among the candidates about this issue as they go forward. But again, I have to put it in perspective. DeSantis and Newsom's camp right now may not agree on most anything of substance, but they are, I think, playing a very interesting role in the presidential cycle that we've not seen before, because this is just not a normal presidential cycle. Never in my life, and I'm, been doing this and been around it for 40 years, I've never seen a time in which the incumbent is so unliked even inside his own party. And on the other side, the candidates seem to be running one race while one man, Donald Trump, is running a race that is completely different. So a lot to think about there as we go forward. One of the things I want to switch and touch on one other thing here that it sort of flies into the face of this a little bit. And this is coming up in this election cycle as well. And this is the information issue, the misinformation issue, or the just plain out censoring of information on Facebook and other platforms by the Biden administration. And now we're seeing the Department of Justice being used in this. White House officials is coming. It just seems like, Jim Jordan and the others, as they continue to look at this, they were in so many instances, whether it be COVID, whether it be other things, we're actually censoring Americans with the help of the social media companies. The White House was asking have special access to target vaccine hesitant users. I remember when Jen Psaki, the former press secretary at the White House, actually said there were 12 people. I mean, she got it down to 12 people who they were really, really furious about when it came to the vaccines and came to the issue of COVID. And they were working with social media to actually go after these individuals. And this is frightening. And as we get into this even further, this is going to be, government spying, it's government, censoring, however you want to encapsulate this. This is what's going on, folks. And if you don't believe it, just look at how the things like Hunter Biden's laptop was handled as opposed to the Steele dossier to go after Donald Trump. It goes back to something we've talked about here, that two-tier standard of justice that is going on at the Department of Justice and other places in the government. These are the kind of things that are going to be developing. So when you get a debate that's never happened before, a DeSantis-Newsom debate, which really is just, again, unprecedented in an election cycle, and I can understand how others in this field would say, hey, this is, unless you're going to offer us the same kind of platforms, this could be construed as actually an in-kind contribution, especially to the DeSantis campaign. Newsom doesn't have a campaign, so it's not really affecting him. Expect a lot more discussion on that going forward if they're not going to offer these kind of debates to individual members of the Republicans who are running. And then you have to actually look on the top of this on what is actually the media actually seeing. And what is the White House still, are they still actively participating in the intelligence community and the others in DOJ and actually working with these social media platforms to basically censor free speech? And again, folks, we've talked about this before. The Constitution speaks of state authority or state action when it comes to free speech. We like to throw around the term, you violated my free speech. Well, no, not really. Okay, if it's an individual to an individual. But if the government, if I was a member of the government, I was a member of the police or a member of an administration, and I used my government official capacity to talk to social media platforms about what Doug Collins is putting out on his social media and how to shadow ban or to keep that traffic from hitting an algorithm would actually get to more people, that is a direct violation of the First Amendment. There's no way around this. And it's amazing to me how all these liberals at ACLU and others who claim that, the First Amendment, the Bill of Rights is what we stand for. Bullcrap. You only stand for what you want to stand for. Okay, I've said this on this show many, many times before. The First Amendment is the protection from the government against speech that you despise. The government cannot come in and just tell you that you can't say something especially if it's your own opinion, which, by the way, focuses also on these indictments that Donald Trump just got from Jack Smith concerning January 6th, is, state of mind and what do you think? That is the very essence of the First Amendment. So, folks, there's a lot of stuff going on here. I want to continue every once in a while through these in the midst of our great guests, and we've had lots of great guests on here on the podcast to talk about these issues, just break them down, spend a few minutes with you as we go forward in this. But there's a lot more that we're going to be able to talk about. But these issues of privacy, FISA reauthorization, you've heard me talk about a little bit here on the podcast. This is the spying, the secret program that we use, the FISA court, the comes out of the a lot of it, has been expanded upon by the Patriot Act and others. These are real things that are actually affecting real Americans and could be you as well. So we're going to keep all this up, but I just want to give you an update, just a little different twist on the 2024 election cycle, especially from the Democrat perspective and also from the perspective of Gavin Newsom angling in to get Kamala Harris out and any other Democrat that may want to go if Joe Biden does not or something happens to him. One of the more crafty, if you would, and politically savvy moves by the governor of California. With that, y'all go have a great day. We'll see you next time on the Doug Collins Podcast.